Hi, today I'm going to talk about something interesting. I'm going to talk about Amitabh Bachchan. See, Amitabh Bachchan is a legend, and we all grew up watching him. But he is getting old, and so am I. So before either of us part this world, I thought I will record my thoughts and feelings about him, so that there is some record of how an ordinary person felt about him, um, watching his films as we grew up. See, we grew up in the 70s and 80s, and Amitabh Bachchan was at his peak at that time. so so as I said, we grew up watching his films and watching, admiring him, how he carried himself. See, those 70s and 80s were depressing time, at least in West Bengal. There was no hope in life. I mean, um, huge unemployment, price rise. There was no opportunity. There was no hope. The whole state was in despair. So, so for us, people like us, I mean, that movie theater was our only escape. We go into a fantasy world, and there the all problems are solved by one Superman, Amitabh Bachchan, the angry young man, the Vijay. He beats up all the baddies and he fixes all the problems and he solves all the problems, and he brings in justice and fairness and hope. And that's why he became such an amazing hero for all of us, all over India. I think that's true pretty much everywhere in India, but particularly true in a small town in West Bengal. So the first movie that we remember, of course, is one of his best movies probably, is Soleil. So I'll give you a small story that so a guy in our neighborhood, someone delivered a truckload of bricks on the road for him. He was repairing his house, so he need to get them inside. So he called three of us little kids. We were like what, in like 9, 10 years old. So he asked us to carry those inside, and we did one full truckload of bricks, and in return we got 3 rupees. 3 rupees was, so I got 1 rupee. And back then, a cheapest ticket for a Hindi movie was 90 paisa. The cheapest price for any movie, a black and white Bengali movie, was 65 paisa. That was the front row seats, 3 benches with no backrest. But that's okay. We didn't care. Any moving picture was magic to us. I mean, as soon as we entered that theater, it was magic. It was a different world, and we just absolutely loved it. And particularly Amitabh Bachchan was there. That was magical. So yeah, so we went to watch Soleil, and we were mesmerized naturally. I mean, that's a good movie. I mean, Soleil is a good movie, no doubt. So, by the way, buying tickets back then was again a harrowing experience, particularly for small kids like us, because it was extremely overcrowded. And there was a big fight in front of the ticket counter, and you had to push your hand inside with the money and get that guy, and he will push the ticket inside your hand, and you have to get the hand out. It was hard. Sometimes you get scratches in your hand. It was that hard, and for little kids like us, it was even harder. But anyway, so there was this theater called Vishwakarma. It was kind of outskirts. It's not a nice theater. It was all bricks, no painting, nothing, a tin shade. Of course, no question of air conditioning, hardly little fans. But again, as I said, it's a movie and it's magic, and we just loved it. So so we watched Soleil, and then followed his the rest of the series of that same genre, Diwar, and then Dawn, and then Kalia, and so on. Right? Suhag, particularly Dostana, I loved all those movies. Particularly Dawn. I mean, I mean, Diwar is somewhat of a serious movie. I loved it, but it's slightly different. But Kalia was, sorry. Dawn was different. It is very well crafted movie. I mean, it's almost like a Hollywood movie type, right? There's no kissy-pitty sentimental stuff. It's all just crime thriller and good stuff. And I just loved that movie. And I loved Kalia too. And that's primarily because of his very happy ending and a very catchy dialogues. And my friend used to recite them when we were in class 12, and it was Abhijit was my friend, and he remembered all these dialogues by his heart, and he was very good at reproducing them, and it's just such a fun thing. So all those that genre of movie that I kept watching, and I did not watch his romantic movies, the Aradhanas and not Aradhana, sorry, Abhiman, and what is that movie, Rim Jim Gire Saban with Mosumi. I don't remember the name, but I didn't watch those. I only watched the Angry Young Man, where he beats up all the baddies and solves all the problems. That kind of movies, and I just loved them, as I said. Amar Akbar and Tony, I forgot. So one I'll tell you about one later. And then came this Bangla movie, right? The first Bangla movie Amitabh Bachchan made, probably the only one, Anusandhan, right? That was in 1981, and it came in a different theater. It came in Kusum Theater, that was on the river bank. It's a brand new theater, a beautiful one, and a good one actually. It's a new one, so it's somewhat more comfortable, and I think we had a little more money back then. So I went to the second class, not on the front rows, the benches now. So we had a backrest back then. So I went with Tushar. He's dead now, but so I went with Tushar, and we saw the movie, and Amitabh Bachchan speaking Bangla. It was such an amazing experience, isn't it? I mean, Amitabh Bachchan always had something. Of course, his wife is Bengali, and he probably worked in Bengal for a little while. So I think he speaks Bengali fairly fluently. But anyway, him speaking Bengali is some experience. So we just loved it, and the movie was good too. I mean, it's good fun. It's comedy. So this, as I said, this went on, and then remember seeing Maud in 1985, and that came in another theater. That was a new one too. It's what is it called? I forgot the name of the theater. The new theater in Bakuda, the latest one. Sibani, I think, is the name of the theater. So there it came there, and because it was so popular, I couldn't get a ticket in the matinee. So I waited 3 hours and bought a ticket in the evening show, and then I watched the movie. So it was, and I was just staring at the poster out there, or Maud. I mean, Maud is not a good movie. But anyway, our love for Amitabh Bachchan was so great that anything that he did, we loved. So yeah, Maud Tange Wala Mehum Maud is just fun. So, and then in 1984, he joined politics, right? And he bitten. I mean, after the assassination of Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi became prime minister, and Amitabh Bachchan, being his friend, whole Bachchan family became very powerful. He became an MP, and he was very much connected with politics and something. And it was not a. I hate anything connected to power, so I didn't like him being so cozy and connected to the corridors of power. So I have felt somehow suspicious. What's going on here? But then good senses prevailed, and I think 1987 he resigned from his MP post, and he again came back to acting, and I just loved that decision. I think it's a good thing that he did. Then he came back and did that movie, Sayansa, and we just loved it. That's a true vintage Amitabh Bachchan, the superhero, the guy who beats all the baddies and restores peace. So, and back then, and by that time we were becoming adolescent, and this movie had Meenakshi with her large eyes and beautiful baby face, and it was fun watching it as a adolescent guy. Not adolescent, I mean, we were almost grown up back then, right? I mean, not adolescent anymore. I mean, we were almost young adult back then. So so it was fun watching her too, and the whole movie. The movie is okay. I mean, it's not a bad movie. So that was kind of, I think that was the last movie I saw of Amitabh Bachchan in Bakuda, and then we went to Calcutta, and my association with Amitabh Bachchan continued with that. So in Calcutta, again, I was again watching movie all the time, and I had a godfather called Kusalla. He was senior to me. He was doing MA and PhD, and his PhD. Sorry, he's doing. Sorry, he was doing MA in philosophy. And philosophy, I mean, he's studying Plato and Aristotle and everything. So I was like idolizing him, and he took me in his under his protection and used to go to movies all the time. So with him we used to watch this movie Kudagawa and what was the other one? The Kudagawa, and then that I think, yeah, Agnipath. So those movies we watched in Calcutta. And then one movie I remember, those were in those areas, in the Hajra area, Bosusri, Purna and Indira, those places. And invariably we used to go in the night show, and invariably after coming out we wouldn't get any transportation, so we ended up walking back to the hostel and coming back at 2 o'clock, 2:30, and eating that cold food and then sleeping off. But it was good fun day walking back in the night Calcutta streets. That's like good 8-9 kilometers, I think. So one movie one day I remember, that was not night show. We went to see Indrajit in Indira in the Hajra mode in 1991. The movie is a piece of shit. But so we saw the movie, and then he came out. And Calcutta, we have this evening newspaper edition for the daily passengers. Now back then, remember, back then there was no mobile phone, there was no Google, there was nothing. So there's only one way to get your news, is in the morning newspaper. But in Calcutta, you also get your news in the evening edition of the newspaper. So there was the newspaper vendors selling outside the theater as a big shout. Coup in Soviet Union. Gennady Yanayev from the Communist Party, he grabs power in a coup for hardline communists. And I just loved it. I loved the news because I hated this guy, Gorbachev, who was destroying, I felt, who was destroying communism, who was destroying Soviet Union. And I felt that, this is the way to go. Now we are back in power and we are restoring the world order the way I felt. Of course, I was wrong. I mean, totally wrong. It is not the way to go, and in 3 days the whole coup went away, and then Russia went into democracy and chaos, and that's a different story. But I remember that story, that it happened after watching a Amitabh Bachchan movie, Indrajit, that day. And another movie I remember is Agnipath, that I saw in that theater. What's his name? Priya, I think, next to Ras Bihari, and this is a good movie, Main Azad Hoon, made by Tinu Anand, and I think Amitabh Bachchan did a good job in that movie. And then I saw the movie and I loved it because, as I said, I was young and idealistic and all these things, and the movie is good. If you get a chance, do watch it sometime. And Amitabh Bachchan looks totally different in these movies. This Indrajit, Main Azad Hoon, this is a different phase of him. He looks gaunt, and I don't know, it's different. His eyes are big, and I don't know, whatever it is. And he did, as I said, he acted fairly well in that movie, and the movie came out fairly good, and I loved it. And then the movie ends with that song, Itne baaju itne sar gin le dusman dhyan se, harega wo har baaji jab khele hum ji jaan se. So the movie ends with that, and it was such an elating experience for a, I don't know, 19-year-old or 20-year-old, and as I said, an idealistic guy like me, and we were almost like ecstatic. So he came out, and again walk back to the hostel. So and then yeah, my association of Amitabh Bachchan kind of ended by that time, and then I stopped watching his movies. And then I went abroad, and then I kind of lost. And then of course he did those ABC, and he went into trouble and all those things. But then when he came back from abroad, and he was doing this KBC, and he was restored, and he was okay. But there was some news and everything about him being, I don't know. I didn't like him anymore for many many reasons. Of course, one of the reasons is being too overtly religious. He was with Ambani's and going to Tirupati every alternate day, and I don't like religious people. So whatever it is, and somehow someone told me that he's not helpful or he's arrogant or whatever it is. So I kind of lost my respect for him, and I didn't like him so much anymore. But then, and of course, I haven't seen any movie after that of him. But then that all changed. Not all changed, but some of it changed when this good guy thing, this incident recently, a few months ago. He was doing this good guy with Ranbir Singh, Deepika's husband, and I hate that every fucking Bollywood star is doing good guy. And how can you do that, man? How can you do? How can you give disease to your own fans? I just don't get it. The guys who are making you rich by paying you money, how can you sell disease to them? It just beats me. But anyway, so when Amitabh Bachchan started doing that, and I somehow felt vindicated that, hey, look at this guy. He's another asshole. I mean, he's just always an asshole, and he should be an asshole. But then he actually withdrew from the ad, and he really did. I mean, I felt that he was giving lip service like the other guys, Akshay Kumar or P.S. Brosnan, whoever. But he actually did. The ad did stop. So now at least some of my respect is restored, and I like him now anymore. Because compared to every other asshole in there who are promoting Gutka and everything, he actually withdrew from a lucrative deal. So I think he has humanity left. He's still my superhero that I always looked up to him. So I'm very thankful that he did that, because I don't know, very soon, either, as I said, either him or me will part from this world, and I want to remember him as my boyhood hero. So thank you, Mr. Bachchan, for restoring my faith in you, and thank you for watching.